Greetings. Greetings, everyone from around the world. My name is Marshall Jones III. I'm the president of Stream On Productions, coming to you live from North Brunswick, New Jersey, the ancestral home of the Lenni Lenape tribe. Welcome to this special presentation. Over the course of this spring semester, we did a special residency with Rutgers University and offered a unique and innovative course entitled Race, Identity, and Theater, the Power of Storytelling. This course is specifically designed to meet the moment our students are living in with respect to the United States racial reckoning. Over the semester, we presented the history of race and racism, while at the same time, the students did a deep examination of their true identity. The class culminates with the students writing 10-minute plays that were produced professionally with professional actors and directors. The students are encouraged to write about their own experiences as it relates to the here and now, to meet the moment. And for college students, this is a challenging time, as nearly 50% of their college life was upended by the pandemic and COVID-19. So the plays you'll see tonight are brave ones, as these students will write about the human psyche and the thought-provoking complexities that are involved in terms of their behavior. I am pleased to introduce our co-hosts for this evening. We have Miss Ryan Myers. Ryan is a third-year student in the BFA program at the Mason Grove School of the Arts at Rutgers. She also served as the assistant producer on the plays that you're seeing tonight, and we're thrilled to have her as one of our co-hosts. She also is a pretty stunning actress herself, as she played St. Joan in a recent production at Rutgers University. Come on out, Ryan.
Hello.
There she is.
I popped up a little early. Hi.
It's okay. And joining Ryan as our co-host is a dear friend of mine, coming to you from London, England, by way of South Africa and Swaziland. He is a writer, producer, actor, radio play producer, TV show producer, and a very, very talented actor in his own right, Mr. Sibusiso Mamba. Come on out, Sibu.
Hello.
There
Hello,
you
everybody.
are.
Hi.
So I'm going to turn things over to you, and I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Sibu. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so jealous of your background. Look at mine. It is so bare. I must apologize that my background does not look like Ryan's. It was supposed to, but due to a couple of technical glitches, which I blame technology, but I also blame myself. You know, I take 55% of the blame. But tonight we are going to be presenting 7 short plays from writers who are theater students at Rutgers University. And yeah, it's very exciting. How are you feeling about tonight, Brian?
I am very excited. I'm actually in one of these.
Yes.
So see it. I'm excited to see the director's vision that she had for it, as well as some of the other people that are in it. They're my classmates, so I'm excited to see them once again. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's great to work with you in a different context again, because you know, we have worked on a production once before on the Stream On platform. And it's great that here we are and we're seeing that Stream On is growing from strength to strength, and that there are more and more young writers who are getting to tell their stories, who are getting to share their stories with the world on this platform. So very, very exciting. So yeah, is there anything you want to talk about before we get started?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay. So just before we introduce the first play, I just want to take a moment, because we did this last time, and I think it's very important to do this tonight as well, because it's the 15th of May. It's a good year and a couple of months since just about most countries in the world began the process of going in and out of various lockdowns due to the pandemic of COVID-19 that has literally changed the face of the earth. I just like us to take a moment to just think about and the people who have suffered through this pandemic by losing relatives or seeing relatives and loved ones unwell, and even though they make a recovery, or even just everyone, all of us have been affected by it in a variety of ways. And it is a really, really difficult time. There is, it looks that there is some sort of light at the end of the tunnel as vaccines keep getting rolled out around the world. There are some places where they're facing more complications with different strains of the virus. So, just when you have a moment, whatever you believe is going on, please just say a quiet thank you, send love, send strength, send healing energy to the people who are on the front lines, to the people who are facing major life changes because of this pandemic. And as we continue to navigate these different platforms that this life has brought us onto, not forgetting how it is that we've ended up on this platform tonight, that we are still dealing with a very serious situation in the world. And whatever our beliefs about it are, we cannot deny that a big shift is happening, and just hope that we all come out of it in one way or another with some measure of our sanity and some measure of our health intact. I just wanted to, just before we began, to just flag that. So Ryan, I'm gonna hand over to you to introduce our first piece.
Yes. For a little intro, we're just going to talk about relationships. If you like them or not, they're hard. They're hard, and ending relationships are even harder. And ending relationships your senior year into college can be, well, let's just watch Forward by Grace Hazen.
Hey.
Hey.
It's been a while. How are you?
I've been keeping well. What about you?
I've been good. I've definitely been worse. What have you been up to recently?
It's nice to hear that you're doing well. As for me, I quit IT support back in May, so I've mostly been searching for jobs. Between that, I've been engaging in hobbies and visiting with friends.
Right. I remember how much you used to complain about that job. It sounded like absolutely soul-sucking. So what are you looking for now in terms of work?
Office and administrative jobs, mostly. I got recruited for a few finance positions, which I emphatically do not want.
The thing with the marketing firm never went forward?
Unfortunately, no, but more places will likely be hiring in the fall. What about you? Tell me how you spent your summer.
Tell me how you spent your summer. You sound like every interviewer I've seen. Same as you, mostly job searching, interviews, cover letters, boring shit like that.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Matthew, you don't need to be so formal. It's me.
Yes, but I think I'd prefer to keep some distance for now. Are you all right?
Yeah, why?
You're playing with your necklace. You always used to play with your necklace when you had something on your mind.
Have you been seeing anyone else?
No, you?
No, not really. I mean, I was kind of seeing someone, but it didn't work out.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's fine. Wasn't really supposed to be that serious anyway.
Was this someone from your hometown?
Actually, yeah, we went to the same high school.
Huh. Huh. That's not why you ended things between us, was it?
Matthew, uh, I don't, I don't want to do this right now.
Was it?
No,
Why did you do it?
can we just chat for a little bit longer?
You left me without an explanation for 4 months. I had so many plans for us. We were going to start a life together, so when you ended things like that, it came out of fucking nowhere. And you never told me why, and I just want to understand. What happened?
Nothing happened.
Did I do something?
No,
Because if I did something, I would like to know what.
it's not your fault.
But that.
I'm sorry.
Hey, wait. Can you at least tell me why you had to do it right after my birthday?
All right. You owe you an explanation. Not giving you that would be a pretty heartless bitch thing to do.
I'm sorry I called you that.
It's fine. You were angry.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it okay.
I've actually been thinking about ending things for a while. But the timing was never right. You had the whole mess with your manager at work and then your brother's surgery and I got fucking buried in assignments at the end of March and I didn't want to add to the stress of what we were both already going through. So I waited and and no matter what, the timing was always going to be inconvenient. So I just decided I had to do it before I waited any longer. There's never really a convenient time to break up with someone anyway.
You wanted to break up with me since March? And you waited 3 weeks to say anything?
Yes.
We were gonna move in together. That's what we wanted.
No, it's what you wanted.
But you said.
I know what I said, and I did like the idea of moving in with you, but you talked about it like it was a guarantee. I mean, it was never when we move in together. It was always if we move in together. And you started apartment hunting and sending me pictures of places all of the time.
You didn't have to move in together if you weren't ready. I never meant to pressure you. I would have been happy to wait.
I know, and I get that you were excited, but when you found that one place and you sent me the lease, it started to get really, really real, and I got scared, and then it hit me all at once how big of a step this was and what it would mean for us, and I didn't know if I was ready to start a life together like that, and then I started thinking about how young I am and how young 22 is to tie yourself down to one person and one place so permanently, and how if there might be some things, I mean, I never get to experience. I couldn't sign the lease.
So you ended things. Did you still love me?
Yes. Of course I did.
Didn't feel like you did.
Matthew, I did still love you.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you honestly that I did. It's just really fucking complicated.
Okay. I still don't think I fully understand, but you seem to have had your reasons for ending our relationship, and I should respect that. But I think we were a really great couple. And I want to try to at least reconcile it and fix what's broken between us. Can we do that?
I think I need to go on my own for a little bit.
And after that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe somewhere in the far future. I don't want to make any promises.
Is there a way that we could still try to be friends?
I mean, maybe, but is that going to be healthy?
If we put the effort in?
Why do you still want me in your life? You said you thought I didn't love you anymore.
I did. And if you don't, I would like you to be honest about that. But I want us to be able to move forward.
I don't understand how you put it all behind you.
I don't either.
Why would you still want me after everything that I put you through?
I don't know.
I've never yelled at anyone like that before.
Neither have I. But you mean so much more to me than that. Sharing an apartment or any other stupid little petty thing. I still love you, Daphne. Wait.
Happy birthday.
Wow. Wow. Ah, the painful, brutal reality of relationships. That, Grace, come on out. Come on out and join me. That was our first play. We hope you enjoyed that. Grace, are you there? I can't see you. Right, while we're waiting for Grace, I just want to say I apologize to you all, ladies and gentlemen. I did not say at the top before we introduced the first play that the plays tonight have adult themes, adult content, and some adult language, as you have just discovered. So my apologies for not warning you about that earlier. So just going forward, viewer discretion is advised. So you would, yeah. Okay. So Grace, how are you?
I am great.
There you are. Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic work. How did that feel? How did it feel watching the actors bring your play to life?
I mean, I was present for the rehearsal process and our recording day, so I'd already seen them, get to take on these characters and go through that, process of discovery and stuff like that. But it's so different when you're seeing the final product. I'm just so blown away by it and so like grateful for everyone's like work who worked on the production.
What is that difference for you between seeing them at the beginning of the process of rehearsals and getting to know your characters and seeing them at the end of the process, but what we saw tonight? What is that difference for you?
Sure. I think it's about discovering the nuances in the characters and their relationship to each other and their interaction with one another and navigating the moments where they're kind of non-verbally playing off of each other. There's that moment where Daphne makes the joke about, oh, that job was absolutely soul-sucking, and it just doesn't land, and she's like, all right, moving on. I remember we were like kind of going over that little moment for a second. I was like, oh wait, I didn't really intend for that to be a joke, but that does kind of work as we're trying to lighten the mood as a joke. So it's like, the characters gets discovered, but also the writing itself gets discovered too.
Yeah, because the honesty of your writing is really refreshing. There's both people are in pain. The one who had the relationship end on them, and the one who ended the relationship. And so I'm curious, what for you do you hope that the audience took away tonight?
I'll be honest, I don't always write with an audience in mind, but I hope that they were able to empathize with both perspectives. I feel like when someone goes through a breakup, it's really easy to see one side or the other. It's like, oh, crystal clear, that's this person was clearly in the wrong, or this person was clearly in the right. But this story, I think, is much messier than that. Both of them are in the right in some ways, both of them are in the wrong in some ways, and it's a much more complicated, grayer situation than I think is typically given to a breakup. So I hope that the audience was able to understand the perspectives of both of these characters and be able to feel both of them like in their hearts, to be able to feel that pain and be able to feel Daphne's guilt and Matthew's confusion and his hurt as well.
Yeah, I definitely felt it, and I hope that our audience felt it too. And final question for you: is this your first play?
This is not my first play.
Yep. So
actually.
I'm curious. No, how many plays have you written before this one?
This is my second 10-minute play, and it's actually my third overall. I wrote another 10-minute play last year that premiered at like a campus.
So a follow-up on that then, how has the process of going through the whole program that you've been through with Professor Jones on race and identity and the power of storytelling, how has that been different to as a lead up to creating a play than your other experiences in the past?
I think this experience allowed me to be a lot more personal than I've been, and it opened up the possibility of getting more personal in future writing as well, because we delved into our identities and it kind of brought forth some things for me that I was like, oh, maybe, I used to think, oh, I write from experience, not identity, and identity kind of sneaks in through the back door, but I'm like, no, I think there are some parts of my identity that I think I do tend to write for them. They're just not quite as overt as you would think.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you for your honesty in the interview tonight. Thank you for your honesty in your work, and well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grace. Okay, so we're going to move on to our second piece of the evening. And in case you missed my warning earlier, this is the warning, the thing that comes in the triangular box on those very old things that used to be called DVDs with the age restriction. Tonight's content has adult themes, adult language, and please, viewer discretion is advised. The next play is called My Year Off. The pandemic has taught us all how to cope with loss. In this next story, a 30-year-old single female decides to cope with loss by taking a year off to grieve in her own special way. We are very pleased to present as our second play of the evening, My Year Off by José de Jesus. Enjoy.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, can you see me, or am
Yeah,
I
I can see you.
Is it
No,
okay?
no, you're fine. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I guess it has.
Oh, Ingrid, you would not believe the week I've had. Oh,
Sure, it wasn't anything crazy.
no, darling, we don't say crazy. It's too offensive to those with mental illness and the like, okay? It's not PC. Wild is what's in these days. And let me tell you, wild is an understatement to the week I just had.
Wild.
Yeah, so you know that I had that audition this week? Well, it's 40 minutes from the restaurant I'm working at, so I thought, there's no need to cancel work. I can clock in a few hours, right? So I call Timmy, and he's the guy that does the shifts, and I tell him, Timmy, I can come in Tuesday, but only for the morning. And he tells me, okay. But then Tuesday comes, and I'm gearing up to go when Timmy tells me he needs me for the afternoon because this girl Rachel cancels, so they're short-staffed.
Wild.
Yeah, I know. But we'll get to that in just a second. How have you been?
Fine. I've been fine.
Ingrid, you know I wouldn't have asked you if I knew the answer was going to be fine. Remember that when we answer questions about how we're doing with words like good or fine or okay, we're just deflecting because we're afraid of getting vulnerable.
Oh, please, Rebecca, not today. Okay, there's only so much of that bullshit you say that I can tolerate.
Okay, there's definitely some truth to it, especially since it looks like I've hit a nerve.
You didn't hit a nerve. It's just annoying when you try and talk like you're some shrink or something.
I'm not trying to talk like anything, but it doesn't take a shrink to see that there's something wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with me, Rebecca.
Really? Are you still drinking?
Yeah.
And the pills?
Of course.
And you think there's nothing wrong with that?
Why would there be?
You don't see that what you're doing is self-destructive and dangerous?
It's not dangerous. It's all part of my plan.
Your plan?
Yes. I'm grieving.
Okay. Just run it again with me one more time so I know that we're hearing the same thing.
What's so complicated about me taking the year off to drink, do drugs, and have sex?
Ingrid, do you hear yourself? This is not right, darling.
How is it wrong, darling, when people do it all the time? What's the difference in me binge drinking now versus college, or taking pills now as opposed to when I need to take them for their prescribed use?
Don't you know it's dangerous to mix alcohol with drugs?
Duh. I'm not an idiot.
But you do mix the two.
Yeah, it hits differently than taking them separately. But it's not like I take lethal amounts or anything like that. I told you, this is just my way to grieve. I'm taking a year off to just be.
Honestly, Ingrid, I feel like you should see a doctor or something. This is not a healthy way to cope with your emotions.
I do see a doctor. Where do you think I get my prescriptions from?
Yeah, and this doctor just gives you bottles and bottles of this stuff?
For your information, Dr. Truffle is a true believer of modern medicine. He really wants to make sure his patients find the right medications, which is why he is so disposed to prescribing me all of them. If that isn't 5-star care, I don't know what is.
It's you finding a drug dealer instead of an actual doctor is what it is. Does he even know what's going on with you?
Of course he does. I told him over the phone that I am going through tumultuous time and it has me depressed and shit. And when I see him for my appointments, all I got to do is say how the meds I'm on isn't working and he's got his pen and his RX pad ready to give me a new drug. Insurance be damned. But anyways, if this is the only reason you called was to vilify me for the way that I'm trying to regain my life, I'm going to hang up.
No, I called because it's been a long time since we spoke, and I wanted to make sure my friend was doing all right after she decided to hole herself up in her apartment for a whole year.
Well, it feels more like a scolding than anything else.
How long's it been?
What?
How long's it been since you started this whole thing? A couple months?
8.
It's already been about 8. Wow. Where's the time gone?
I know. Sometimes I wake up and I can't believe how much time has passed. But then there are minutes that feel like hours, hours that feel like days.
8 months since Michael.
Yeah.
And you're feeling better since then?
I think so. Maybe. I don't know. It's not like I'm keeping track. It's more like I'll check in with myself after the year, after a whole year of just going crazy.
Wild.
Sure, wild. After a whole year of doing wild shit, I will be less.
Less what?
Just less. When Michael left, part of me left with him. He left something behind, and I feel like I can't get better until I can fill that something. And I mean, this thing I'm doing, this taking the year off, has helped. I feel good most of the time. A lot of the time I forget about him, and I just feel really good.
Yeah.
I know it's different and it looks unhealthy, but I swear I'm just trying to do what anyone in my situation would do. Grieve and move on.
I honestly don't know what to say, Ingrid.
You could try and support me.
Don't say that. Of course I support you. All I want to do is support you. I want to be the person you lean on. I don't know if this is the way.
Is it really so bad?
Of course it is. I just wish you could see it. I mean, do you ever think that by drinking and taking drugs and having sex with these random people, that you're just avoiding having to deal with your actual emotions?
I never thought of it that way.
It's work.
You have to go?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to get going. It's just such a shame, too. I feel like we were really getting somewhere.
I guess. Maybe we should talk more.
But not just with me. Have you ever considered, talking to someone?
Rebecca, you're like my only friend.
Not a friend, a doctor. Have you, considered therapy?
I'm not sick like that.
You don't have to be sick to talk to someone. I mean, you're talking to me right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what therapy is. Only it's with someone who can help you more than I can. So promise me you'll at least think about it.
No promises.
Just play around with the idea. It doesn't have to be a big thing. All right, I have to go now. Okay, talk to you later. I love you.
Love you too. Hi, Dr. Truffle.
Hello, Ingrid. Hello. 2 weeks go by in a flash, don't they? Seems just like yesterday. We just had our appointment. How are you feeling on this fine day?
I'm feeling a little down, to be honest. Like, sad.
Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Have you been on your medication, Ingrid?
Yes,
Have you taken your Valium?
as instructed.
Diazepam, Zoloft, secobarbital?
Religiously.
And you claim to still be feeling episodes of sadness.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't feel like the medications are working.
That's entirely unacceptable. I'm wondering, with your specific circumstance, if Western medication is even the right choice for you. I recently read a publication on a barbiturate synthesized in Siberia that, when combined with Zoloft, can show some promising results. Can I write you a prescription?
Actually, doctor, I was wondering if you think there was something else that could help me.
Something other than the Siberian barbiturate? Well, if you're insistent on domestic medication before we move on to foreign substances, we haven't tried Lexapro yet. Although I am wary about how it will interact with the other medications you're on.
No, I mean something other than drugs.
Oh.
Yeah, like maybe therapy or something.
Well, I suppose something like that can be useful for someone in your condition. I've heard good things. I will send you a list of doctors covered by your insurance that you might want to check out.
Cool.
Is there anything else?
No.
You want me to write you a refill on one of your current prescriptions?
I think I'll just wait to see how the therapy works out first.
Very well then. All right then, Ingrid. If there isn't anything else, I look forward to seeing you 2 weeks from today.
Sounds good.
Wow, that was really, really good. It was really sad to watch. I was like tearing up, honestly, watching it a little bit. Jose, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. That was really good to watch. That was amazing to watch. I definitely have some questions though after watching it. My first question is, what made you write from that point of view, from a 30-year-old woman's point of view? What was your thought process when you decided to do that?
That's a good question. I guess throughout this class, like we really learned a lot about how like our stories impact the way we tell our other stories. You know what I mean? So like looking into myself, I am like a very like an emotional kind of person, but something that's really difficult for me to like express are like thoughts of like madness or like sadness. And I really want to like personify and like really go hard with the character that like I guess does what I can't do, and like it has that space to just feel these raw emotions like grief, right? Even though they have a very hard time going through it. And that's where my inspiration came from.
Mm. I'm wondering, what was the most difficult or frustrating process through this all when working on this play for you?
Definitely, like one thing that I always like second guessed myself on was like being able to tell the story in like a respectful way. Like I feel like I definitely there were certain areas that I was treading that because it's not my identity, you know what I mean? I was very wary if like I'm talking about this like in the right way with the right language with the right depth and like sincerity, and that always really, I just had to really check myself and make sure like, okay, like are we really doing this justice, you know what I mean? And so that was definitely what I think was the most difficult part with writing this story.
Yeah, because it's a flip. Like it's a flip of she's a woman, she's a lot older, and she's a white woman. So it's like, in a way, a lot of it's just interesting. Like in a way, a lot of her is just so different from you.
Yeah.
Still found it in you to be able to write about this woman and her life. So that's just awesome. I'm being a little nosy in the back. What are those trophies from?
So like in high school, right? I took a lot of Taekwondo, and I was just like, my parents made me do it, and so I thought to myself like, okay, like if we have to do this, we might as well like go all the way. You know what I mean? Like shoot for the stars. So like this is just like a culmination of like my 4 years work at Taekwondo.
Wow, beautiful. Don't mess with Jose.
Don't mess with me. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed watching that. And we're gonna get on to the the third play, my bad, which is Second Self. So students across the world are taking classes remotely right now. And for you that don't know, maybe some parents watching, there is such a thing as a breakout room in these Zoom classes that 2 people, I think up to like 4 or 5 can join. So our next play revolves around that, explores one such encounter as the students discuss the classical literature of Gilgamesh. This is Second Self by Thomas Flatts.
And she brought up how in order for Enkidu to serve his purpose, he has to be socialized in addition to being created. What I think is even more interesting is that even though Enkidu was made to combat Gilgamesh, they end up being so close, like physically and emotionally.
Sure.
I don't know about you, but how could they be anything other than romantic? I know that Professor Raver said that conceptions of same-sex romance in the ancient world were super different than how we conceive of them now.
Yeah.
And Gilgamesh's grieving process is clearly so much more than... Are you all right, Gabe?
Yeah, Eden, sure. Totally fine.
Okay, well, what are you thinking? I don't want to just monologue at you.
I guess I didn't find anything really worthwhile commenting on.
Okay. What did you think about the Cedar Forest scene? It's pretty cool how Enkidu is the one who supports Gilgamesh, despite being the one who initially was scared to go into... Okay, I've never seen anyone have less fun. What is going on?
I said it's nothing.
I mean, I don't want to be talking over your thoughts. I don't want you to be thinking, oh, geez, Eden, why are they just going on and on? Why don't they ask what I think while I'm over here monologuing about Achilles and Patroclus type shit? Come on, if something's up, just
shut up.
What?
You're so annoying, just going on and on and on.
What did I do? Professor Raver told us to discuss the text, and I was discussing the text. It's not my fault you weren't joining in on the discussion.
You wouldn't understand.
Try me.
I was trying to get paired up with Shani.
And?
And then you volunteered to pair up with me instead.
Seriously?
I've been trying to get her number for the whole semester, and now you ruined my best chance to talk to her.
Again, I fail to see how this is in any way my fault.
Fucking is.
Come on, man, brighten up.
I'm not gonna fucking brighten up. She's in there right now with Jacob, and I know he's been eyeing there for a while.
You know she's...
So yeah, you were my best shot. I can't fucking believe this.
You could have volunteered to talk before me.
Yeah, sure. That'd be real subtle.
I don't get you, man. I'm trying to be nice, but you're making it super hard.
Nice? You're just so fucking annoying. God, it's like you were put on this earth to annoy me.
You know what? I seriously don't know what you fucking want, okay? Because guess what? There's nothing you can do now. So what, you just decide that you can verbally abuse me because you're pissed you can't score with Ishani? And will never?
Hey, that's not
Will
something
never. Not possible, not a chance in heaven.
How do you know, oh so great and wise?
Because she's fucking gay.
Huh?
Yeah, gay. Total lesbian.
And how do you know?
Well, first, I have also chatted with her because I'm fucking friendly.
That's not even like...
Second, she has a massive lesbian pride flag hanging behind her.
I wasn't ever good at geography.
That's... God, you are so fucking... I can't believe you. The audacity to yell at me for something so fucking petty. And how could I have known? That's the most ridiculous part. I'm not a fucking mind reader. You can't just sit there pouting and moping and expect me to instantly know why you're upset. Absolutely insane, just ridiculous. I thought you were pretty cool, you know? I can't believe you. You're just fucking disappointing. Back to be angry at me for no goddamn reason again?
No. I'm sorry.
Sure.
No, really, I am. The way I reacted was unacceptable.
Huh.
What?
I honestly didn't expect an apology.
Really?
Really. I don't usually get apologies from people that speak so angrily to me.
God, I'm sorry to hear that. That has to suck.
Yeah, it does. You get used to it, unfortunately.
Hey, at least I didn't apologize like Gilgamesh to Humbaba, all right?
I mean, that's a pretty low bar. So you did read the text.
I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna fall behind on classwork for no good reason, you know?
Makes sense. Yeah. Did you really think Ishani's pride flag was for some country you didn't know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I wasn't kidding when I said it was bad at geography. Like, worse than my class levels of bad. Like, I didn't know Georgia the state was different than Georgia the country. Maybe not my fault entirely, but, you know?
Yeah, Jesus, not to laugh at your clear lack of education.
Hey, no, that's unfair. I went to an American high school.
So did I.
Fair enough. So do you chat with many of our classmates?
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot people a compliment now and then. Like, did you see Farah's nails last week?
Not particularly.
Well, they were awesome, and I told her. We chatted through the class about this and that at that point.
I thought, I thought naturally friendly people was just like a story people told.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not natural. The work I've had to do to get myself comfortable to reach out like that, it's been a lot.
Well, you could have fooled me. You really thought it was cool?
Yeah, I did.
Did.
Well, you didn't fuck up enough to completely ruin that opinion.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, you seem really smart. You've got a good taste for clothes. Your hair is super cool.
Thanks.
Hey, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable.
No, it's not your fault. It's just that I'm not used to getting compliments, but I appreciate it. Wow, this flew by for me.
Same, really.
You know, I didn't expect to enjoy this, but I don't know. You ever meet someone who like seems to be so different from you, but you can talk to them like they were made to be that way?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Do you want to talk later?
I'd like that.
Cool.
I'll send you my number.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Hello, Thomas. Thank you very much to the cast. Wow. That is we're getting used to the Zoom space as a way of life, aren't we? Wow, fascinating. Wow. Thomas, hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing well. Very excited to be here.
Yeah. Beautiful work, man. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about tonight?
I'm feeling really good. My family's watching from upstairs, and I could hear their reactions, which was a great boost of confidence, definitely. But I'm
Yeah,
feeling great.
yeah. I just think the Zoom space has become so familiar to us, not just as a platform like we're using Zoom tonight to broadcast this, but also this is just where we spend our time in work or learning spaces, and so I just wanted the first question is about you as a college student. Before we get into the play, I'm just really curious. Maybe you could share a little bit with our audience how the experience of being a college student at this time and having your college life disrupted and migrated onto this space. How has that been for you?
Wow, yeah, it's been definitely very strange. I'm currently in a couple of fields that really benefit from in-person discussion or collaboration. Theater, as we know, is very collaborative. I study religion as well, and that really benefits from like discussing, bouncing around the room. And so it's been really difficult to be able to kind of maintain like the level of engagement that I really enjoy from university courses in like a virtual setting.
And you guys are also missing out on essentially college life, so that's you've described what it's like in terms of academia, but you're missing out in on the social aspect of college life, aren't you? And I think that's what's so beautiful about your piece is here we are in this space where these two characters are supposed to be learning or doing some kind of workshop discussion about a piece, but what we actually see is sort of a friendship form, is obviously it's the obvious question that everyone asks every playwright, and as a playwright, every time I get it, I go, yes, but of course, yes, but of course not. This was from experience, I'm guessing.
Surprisingly, no, actually. I haven't been put into too many breakout rooms over the past year. I've had a lot of small classes, but I just kind of wanted to lean into the format of a Zoom classroom and be like, how can I really dive into like a deep social interaction, even though it's completely unconnected?
That's the beauty of playwriting, isn't it? And that's the kind of answer that I think I love hearing when I ask a playwright if something has come from their personal life. But you've taken the platform that you have literally been, you know, teleported into as a human by the circumstances we're living in, and you've taken that and created a drama out of that. So yeah, brilliant, man. And so how was the experience of seeing the actors bring your characters to life?
It was absolutely just brilliant. I was like writing out these characters and be like, I'm pulling from like these are like these archetypical characters, but just was like, okay, how is this gonna like actually look when like human beings are like reading them out loud? And it was just like it took it to a whole other level than I expected.
And did it change? Did anything change from your first rehearsal to your final recording? Your final did anything shift?
Oh goodness. I think my appreciation for the actors shifted. Like I was really excited about the actors for that play, but just like seeing them breathe this life into these characters was amazing.
Mm. And in terms of your process as a writer, um, when you start, it was interesting talking to Grace at the beginning of the evening, who said, you know, that she didn't really have the audience experience in mind when she was writing. But what about you? When you start your play, when you start your, are you thinking, okay, they're in a Zoom space, the audience will relate to this because, you know, we're all in these Zoom spaces, that's where we do our work. Did you have the audience in mind at the beginning, in the middle, towards the end, or did you not have the audience in mind?
I think when I was first writing it, I definitely didn't have the audience in mind. I just had like the format in mind. But as like we were workshopping it in our class, it was just I was seeing how people were reacting to it, and that put me more in mind of like, okay, how is the audience gonna take this moment? How's the audience gonna feel about this moment? So it definitely became a part of the process later on.
Right, right. And I think I'm gonna ask this question to everyone I speak to tonight, because I'm fascinated by the program that you guys have experienced with Mr. Marshall Jones. And how is this your first play? Your second? Your third?
This is not my first play, but it's been a few years since I've had one read out.
Right, right, right. And the experience of writing a play, and in this course, how different, similar has it been to any experience of writing a play before?
It's been definitely really different. I've so this is not my first time attempting to adapt Gilgamesh into a script format.
That's great, because that's going to be my next question. So
Yeah.
please talk a bit more about that.
So I've tried to work on it before, but because we focused so much on our own identities and like how those are formed and how we interact with other people, when I sat down, I was like, okay, my own identity as a queer person like really played into how I was interpreting the story and building the characters and writing the dialogue. It was just so much more a part of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a journey you've been on. I mean, extraordinary. I hope you feel very proud, and I hope your family's very proud. And yeah, have a wonderful evening. Great work, Thomas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we are now coming into our fourth play of the evening. Our next play is called Digits. Now, in our next play, a first-year college student must muster the courage to leave the past in the past in order to confront her mother. Our next presentation is Digits by Felicity Winter.
Hey,
Hi.
so do you like it?
What?
The-
Oh, the computer. Yes. It's great. It's so much faster than the old one.
Oh, I bet.
Anyways, I wanted to thank you, because you can't be here in person. I thought it's
I know I should be there. It's so far, and I'd have to board the dog, and she always gets sick when she's in the kennel. And between that and the plane and the hotel, it's
no, I get it. It's fine. It would have been nice to have you here for my graduation, but I get it. I do.
don't do that.
Do what?
Use that guilting tone of yours. You and I both know that I couldn't be there, and I sent a very nice gift in place of myself. It was much nicer than anything my parents ever would have gotten me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I tried calling you when I got the email that it had been delivered, and it said the number was no longer in service.
Yeah, I had to change it when I switched providers.
Oh, what's the new number? I'll update your contact in my phone. I want to be able to call you tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's gonna be pretty busy. Maybe we can Zoom the day after tomorrow?
Or I can just call you the day after. I want to talk to you about something.
You always say how you never get to see me. Isn't this a good solution? We can just use Zoom.
Or FaceTime.
I don't even think you need a phone number for FaceTime.
Regardless, you'll need to text me all the details.
I find it easier to just email the Zoom link.
Julia, I'm starting to think that you don't want me to have your phone number at all.
No. I don't want you to have it. I think I need some space from talking to you for a while.
I can't believe this. Isn't this still about the move? That was so many years ago.
It is not about, well, yes, it's part of it. I'm talking about it a lot in therapy. But no, it's you too.
We've been over this. I wanted to take you with me when I moved, but your father insisted that you stay.
You left. After you knew I was staying here, you left.
You were smart. You should have known the difference between someone who actually wanted to leave and someone who...
I was not. I was not. But that's beside the point. It's the way you talk to me too.
What do you mean the way that I talk to you? I talk to you like I would talk to anyone.
Yes, and that's the problem. You never treated me like a kid.
Well, you were too smart to be treated like a child. You were old for your age.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know.
Because you treated me much older than I was.
And how did I do that from this massive distance? According to you, I couldn't really be your mother from Oregon. So what did I do?
I always had to worry about you.
I don't have time for this. I have to start dinner.
What is it you want to talk about?
Nothing.
What is it?
I was going to leave Oregon and move back to be closer to you.
But you love Oregon. You moved across the country because you loved Oregon.
Yeah, I do. I've lived here. I've done it. And I missed you growing up. I want to be there for you when you need me.
I don't need you to be here physically for me. Don't move back for me.
You don't understand, Juliet. Do you remember when you left your journal here?
Left it?
Mm-hmm.
When you stole it. You weren't meant to read.
Of course I was meant to read it. I had to find out whatever it was that you weren't telling me. You didn't call me Mom when you wrote about me. You called me Rebecca instead. And you wrote that you wished you had a different mother.
Are you crying?
No, it's the onion.
How old was I?
What do you mean?
How old was I when you stole my journal?
I don't know, 13, 14 maybe.
So it's probably around the same time San Mateo happened.
I thought we said we were not going to talk about San Mateo.
I'm just saying that it's a possibility that I was writing about you with San Mateo fresh in my mind.
You know what? It was not my fault, and it was not as bad as you thought.
Stop waving that knife around.
Jesus fucking Christ, Julie, I know how to handle a goddamn knife. And I am not a bad mom.
I never said you were.
But you brought up San Mateo.
Because you brought up my journal. And because I'm trying to prove a point.
What point?
That I think it would be better if we didn't talk for a while.
Is that what's happening here? Because what I'm hearing is that after everything I have given up for you, you don't see my value.
Stop.
You were my only child. And you don't see my value as a human being. So maybe I shouldn't be alive anymore.
Oh, please stop.
You know what? I'm serious, Juliet. You obviously don't love me, and there's no one else in my life, so what's the point of even being alive?
I don't think you should be having this conversation with me.
It would be so easy to do it right now. I sharpened this knife yesterday. You know, the skin isn't even that thick. And a very efficient cut. And 2 arteries in the same place. I could do it right now. And you'd know it would be all your fault. And you'd see it all.
You're not gonna do it.
What?
You're not going to do it.
How do you know? I have the knife right here.
Because you didn't do it the time before this. Remember last time when you said you were gonna go walk into the ocean? And you didn't do it the time before that or the time before that.
How do you know that it isn't different this time?
I don't. But you've said it so many times. When I do something you don't like, you say you're gonna kill yourself. So then I do what you want for a while.
Look, I'm your mother. I'm supposed to discipline you, and
You know, the first time that you told me you were going to do it, I believed you. I went to school like I was supposed to, and the whole time I couldn't stop thinking about all the ways you could have done it. If you'd hung yourself, or you drank bleach, or you cut your wrist. And you weren't even answering your phone the whole day, so how was I supposed to know you were even alive?
Well, it worked, didn't it? You did what I said after that.
That doesn't make it right!
I treated you well! Yeah, I bought you nice things, and
you spend money and expect everything to be better.
I still don't know what you're complaining about. Compared to how I grew up, with my parents, you've had it easy.
What am I supposed to do then? Every time Mom says she's going to kill herself, I should say, oh, you know, Mom, it's not her fault that she can't just say how she's feeling because her parents weren't nice to her.
You know, maybe, I don't know. I don't deserve this criticism just because you can't get over it.
This is why.
No, please don't do this. I'm so lonely.
I know.
You don't. You don't know what it is to be alone. In this apartment with no people, doing the same things every day. You're all I have.
This is hard. But you have to let me go.
No, this isn't me letting you go, Julia. You're erasing me.
I don't think that's what this is.
I need you.
You don't need me. Specifically, you need more people in your life, but I can't be everybody for you anymore. I'm only one person.
You're enough for me.
There's no room for me in this. Maybe thought about going back to therapy, maybe talking through some of this.
No, I'm not sick. You're the one with the problems.
Then let's both go together, okay? Why don't we go together? We could talk through, learn how to communicate better, and then maybe I can give you my phone number.
No, absolutely not. I don't want some stranger to gang up on me with you.
I want to go to therapy together. Then I'll give you my phone number, but therapy first.
God, this is ridiculous, Julia. We don't need therapy. And you know that it makes me uncomfortable. Look, no, I could never agree to put myself in a situation like that. You know, this all sounds like a plan that you made to make me.
This? If you're saying no, definitively, then I'm going to end this meeting and we are not going to talk anymore. You're not being fair to me.
Fair? I have always been fair to you.
Not a definitive no.
Yes, it's a definitive no.
So I guess this is goodbye for now.
Don't be so dramatic. I didn't mean. Julia?
Felicity.
Hi.
Hi. So I just wanted to know, first look at it, what was your reaction when watching these actors take on your script?
Oh, they did such a great job. Like, I don't know, I had this version of it in my head when I was writing it, and they took it in a completely different direction, but it was so wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah, they killed it. They killed it. They definitely did. And I was definitely feeling everything from your script. In what way did it direct in another direction with actors?
I mean, the characters in my head were very personal to me, and I had seen them as real people in my life. And then as soon as the actors were there reading the lines I had written, thinking of these other people, they weren't the real people in my life anymore. They were the characters. So it was really amazing to see that.
That's nice. I was wondering when I was watching it, what made you want to discuss a mother and daughter relationship as terms to anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a very complicated relationship with my own mother, so I think that more than anything was the impetus to write this. And I don't feel like there are like difficult relationships like that portrayed enough. And I wanted to show what that was like. sorry. I'm so sorry. I have a dog, obviously.
That's all good. I just have one more question for you. What was the most pleasurable and the most frustrating part of writing this?
I think that I think that like honestly the best and the worst part of writing this were probably the same thing. It's that I had to be very honest with myself and with my own experiences and how they would translate, and also to realize that, as it was said multiple times to me in the writing process, that this wasn't a docudrama, that is fictional, and like finding the differences between these characters in my own life.
Well, thank you so much. I could definitely tell that this was coming from a personal space, and it was just taken really well from me. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, the fifth play that we're going to show is called Log Kia Kahenge. So at times, therapy can be very, very awkward. And well, when parents are invited to participate in their college-age son's therapy session, things can get very awkward. So let's find out. And Log Kia Kahenge by Sam Skit Seal.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Iyer. How are you doing? It's good to finally meet you both. Oh, I think you're muted.
Hello, Mrs. Dutt. I'm well. How are you?
I am well, and please call me Frankie. Hi, Mrs. Iyer. How are you?
I'm also doing well. It is wonderful to finally meet you, Frankie.
You as well. Well, while Manav gets settled, how much have you two heard about his progress?
Oh, this and that. He tells us some things, but not everything.
The biggest thing we talk about is his job.
Good to hear. I'm glad he speaks with you often. That helps keeping communication open.
Hi, Frankie. Sorry, my room was a little messy, so I had to clean that up. Hi, Ma. Hi, Dad.
Peter, why are you acting like we've never met before? We spoke with you yesterday.
All right, well, let's get started. I wanted you to join us this week because Manav has been taking some big steps and we wanted to share his progress.
Yeah, so, you know, I've been doing this for like 3 months now, and I've kept you updated mostly. But there is this one big thing that came up that you should know. Oh boy. Okay.
Beta, what's wrong?
Manav, if you need any help, that's what I'm here for.
No. It's just that there's no easy way to say this. I have depression, and I'm going to start taking antidepressants. Guys?
Did you hurt yourself?
Oh God, no. No, I'm not at that level yet.
This isn't possible.
What, Ma?
It's not possible. How can you be depressed? We gave you everything we could. You've always had everything you needed.
That's not really how it works. I felt the same way when Frankie first told me, but a person can still be unhappy with everything they want.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. This doesn't make sense.
No, I get it, Ma. I went through that same process too.
Manav, what will people say?
What?
What will people say? We have an image to uphold, Manav. God! Seriously, Manav, you can't run from every conversation in your life.
Manav, come back. Let's talk about it.
Who do you have to tell that you're so worried about?
We don't have to tell anyone, but people find things out. We have to deal with their judgment.
So you would have me rather deal with the debilitating sadness that is so difficult to overcome alone than deal with a little gossip.
You're not alone. You have us to help you.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that right now.
What is that supposed to mean, Manav?
I mean that I asked you guys to come here because I wanted your support. But here we are. Just like every day, I open and you yell. That's all that ever happens.
Anything we say is classified as yelling. We can't say anything to you now.
God! No, that's not what I'm saying. I just wish you would listen for once.
Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, what worries you?
Manav, if you want to talk about this like an adult, we can. But if you're going to sit there and accuse me of things, I am leaving.
I am talking like an adult. If you think me criticizing you is accusatory, then that's a you problem.
Mrs. Iyer, what worries you about the medication?
We hear all the time that people on antidepressants are suicidal.
So let's talk about that a little bit. It is true that most antidepressants have side effects of suicidal thoughts, but Lexapro, which I am recommending to the psychiatrist that will deal with Manav's medication, is one of the safest antidepressants.
Ma, is Dad listening or did he leave entirely?
I'm here.
Cool.
Why are you putting this on us? Why are you telling us? Are you asking for permission? What do you want by telling us?
What do you mean, what do I want? I'm telling you because I want you guys to know what's happening in my life. You're my parents, and I do care about what you think.
So you're not asking for permission. You are going to do this regardless of what we said.
Yes, I'm 23 years old. I can make decisions for myself now. I wanted to tell you because it is important that you know.
Well, then why didn't you tell us in person or over a Zoom call with just you? Why did it have to be in a family therapy setting?
Because I can't explain the details of it as well as Frankie can. I wanted her to be able to tell you the specifics. Why are you so worried about this?
We'll talk later.
You should avoid taking this personally if you can. It can be hard to hear this, but we have ways of helping Manav to make sure he stays healthy.
I asked you guys to come here so we can talk about it here. I'm not talking to you guys about this later.
We do support you, beta. This is just hard for us to accept. You have to understand.
Understand what?
We cannot deal with our friends talking about this. We don't want to put up with that.
Okay.
Okay. Manav, can you expand on how you're feeling?
I just think that it is absolute bullshit that your social life and how people view you can affect your son's well-being. I think it is ridiculous that I still have to deal with that at this age. My entire childhood was comparison to other kids. What will people think? I thought that would be over once I moved out and started making my own money, but here we are in the exact same place as before.
Well, you said you were going to do it anyway. Why does it matter what we say?
Because you're my parents! I want your opinion and your support. I clearly only got one today.
Manav, Let's talk when you're not so emotional. Call us later.
If you leave, you're choosing your friends and your social life over me. Know that if you leave, everything about our relationship will change. I can promise you that.
As I said, call us when you're less emotional.
This is exactly why I wanted to tell you this in this setting. I needed someone to mediate this conversation because you guys would have overrun everything I said and gaslighted me. Really can't believe you. I hope you and your friends are happy.
Manav, when you're ready, walk me through your thoughts.
Guess that went well, huh? I really didn't expect them to leave.
They will come around eventually. It can take some time. They do seem worried about your health, but I think they're just shocked.
I just can't believe that that's the hill they were willing to die on. I can't understand it. I don't want my relationship with them to change dramatically, but I feel like that's not something you can just ignore and move on from.
I get that, Manav. Why don't you get some rest? If you speak to them later this week, let me know. We may be able to find a time to meet and debrief if you would like.
I don't think I'm going to talk to them. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk to them this week. Thank you, Frankie. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, I understand that. Get some rest. See you soon, Manav.
Thank you. See you soon.
Wow. Sankit.
Hello.
Hi. Wow. I need a moment. Ooh, okay. That was extremely powerful.
Thank you.
How did it feel watching that?
It felt very good. I got to watch the filming of it, and I was talking to Professor Jones afterwards about how different it feels to watch it in our classroom with 20-year-olds, reading all the parts as compared to watching people of that age play those parts. It felt like it came to life, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah. It makes the biggest difference in the world, doesn't it? Because when you move from a sort of classroom workshop situation where your colleagues are doing their best to embody the characters and give truth to the words that you are still developing, suddenly you will now have actors who are not just giving life to the words you've been writing, but are bringing their own life experience into the process. And how did that change the perspective on your own characters, but did it change anything in the story itself for you?
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch the growth of it, because initially the play started out as sort of just Manav being in denial of his own depression, and then especially when we added the actors, it became a bigger family story, and I thought that was a big direction that I really needed to take.
I just want to say just a huge kudos to you, and just for your courage, you taking on such an extraordinarily difficult and complex subject matter. You're not just dealing with the mental health subject matter, but you're also dealing with stigma around it, but also dealing with how it affects both the people who are living with somebody who's going through struggles with their mental health, but also that, the perspective of the person going through it. And but also something that you've done is something that is very difficult to do as a playwright, and especially as a young playwright. Is this, you start us off with a very light touch. I mean, the fact that the opening is great, because we've all experienced this when we try to talk to our relatives. People experience it when they try to talk to me. Look at me. I don't have my Zoom background. I didn't get it to work. So that first line got me. I think when Frankie, the therapist, says, I think you're muted. How many times have we had to say, you're on mute, unmute button, So you open us up to these people in a very human, warm. I mean, obviously Zoom, as we were talking with some of your colleagues earlier, how Zoom is this new frontier for all of us right now. And now a question I have for you, which if you're not sure about the answer, don't feel any pressure to answer it, and we can move on. But do you think you, as Sam Kitt, playwright, creative person, would have taken on this story outside of the course you've just been through with Marshall?
No way. I've had some other ideas for plays in the past, but none of them involving this. This was because Marshall, Professor Jones, asked us to write a play specifically about our identity. I think that's why I went with this. I don't think I would have done this outside of that.
Yeah. So do you feel that the everything you did before gave you a sort of grounding, gave you a sort of foundation for you to sort of take a leap? Because it is a leap. You go into some really deep, painful places for everybody. I think it's so, and how in the past, because this is, how have you approached your storytelling?
I actually get told often I'm a bad storyteller because
really?
Yeah, I tend to reach a sort of emotional high and then block it off right there and not get past it. I worked really hard on this to make sure after many drafts that I rolled over that hill, so to speak. And that's how this came about. But yeah, my storytelling sometimes hits a wall at the top and I just need to push through it.
So what do you think was blocking you in the past that has sort of been unblocked this time?
I think I need to trust myself on the resolutions of stories. Sometimes I feel like the resolution won't land as well as it does. Especially for the first couple drafts of this, I didn't have a resolution and I kept trying to get there, and it took me a while, but it ended up being one of my favorite things I've ever written.
Did it surprise you?
Yes, very much so. I was not expecting the play to go this way.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary thing how characters can take us in a direction we've never been, we've never seen, and there's something about this using comedy to relax us and kind of let us in. Is that, do you do that on purpose? Is that a skill you've developed as a creative person to kind of get us to relax and then hit us with the hard truth?
Not a creative skill, that's just a personal like I tend to make a lot of jokes of dark situations just to lighten the mood. When I was thinking of this play, it initially was going to start out to be a full like dark comedy instead of a tough story with a couple of jokes in it to lighten the mood. I'm glad the jokes came across because I wasn't expecting them to.
Oh no! I just have this moment in my head that I found myself laughing through the pain of it when after the father leaves and And says, "Well, where did he go?" And he says, "I'm here." It's like it's extraordinary. So, a final question for you: what do you hope that the audience is going to take away from this piece tonight?
Yeah. I hope if you are struggling with something, you get some help. Getting help is the best thing you can do. Talking to your loved ones, a therapist, as much as you can. And yeah, I hope you get better. That's my biggest thing. Don't push it down and try to deal with it as much as you can.
It's a really mature words and an outlook, and I think it's one of the things that is important as writers to know that ultimately our work might trigger stuff in people, and that it's fine if it does, but do hopefully find a way to take it to the next step of asking for help. And I thank you for your courage, and I really I am inspired by your courage in taking on subject matter that is not easy but is necessary, especially because of everything we've lived through in the last year. And I think a lot of us are dealing with a lot more than we have before. And I wish you well, and I hope that you are proud of what has been achieved tonight. And yeah, it hit me right in the solar plexus. So that's really good, powerful work. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Okay, cheers. Okay, so we're coming into our 6th play of the evening. This is called My Brother's Journal. So this presentation explores this complicated relationship between two brothers as they negotiate the complexities of high school, particularly of high school romance. My Brother's Journal by Joshua Rosenzweig.
Stop talking like that, River.
I don't see a point anymore. I felt numb for so long, you literally don't get it.
Did you ever think how I would feel if you were gone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I promise you, you will be okay.
How do you know that?
Because you're my little brother.
Mom and Dad don't give a shit about me.
Fuck them, dude. Who the fuck cares what they think about?
Taylor, they're kicking me out. I have no place to go. I'm homeless.
I know, but that
But
doesn't...
what? What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna live?
I don't know, but we'll find you a place. I'm sure someone from school will let you stay with them.
Someone from school?
Yeah, why not? What about your friends?
Oh, you mean the friends that beat the shit out of me?
Oh. Well, what about Mrs. Rogers? You two were always so close. You're literally her favorite student. I'm sure if you told her what was going on, she would help you out.
I used to see Miss Rogers every lunch. We would chat and gossip about, well, everything. I came out to her right before prom. I guess it was too much for her to handle, though. She wouldn't talk to me much after that. She wouldn't even call on me in class anymore.
I promise you it'll be okay. I'm not leaving your side. I never will.
Isn't that ironic, dude? That our parents preach love and acceptance because that's what Christianity is supposed to be all about, right? I mean, that's what their entire fucking religion is all about, isn't it? But because I'm different, and because I love differently, suddenly I'm worthless now? What the fuck is that?
I know, dude. It's fucked up.
Imagine hating your own kid. You shouldn't fucking be allowed to have kids if you're not gonna love them unconditionally.
They do love you.
Whatever that is not fucking love, Taylor.
They're just not used to it, River. You know how we were
Don't
brought up.
fucking defend them, Taylor!
I'm not defending them, I'm just stating facts.
Do you have any idea what that feels like? No, you can't possibly have any idea what any of this feels like because you're a straight white male who doesn't know the first thing about what it feels like to struggle with your identity.
You're right.
It feels like everyone in my life abandoned me.
I wish I could have stopped it all, River.
Alex, he didn't know what to do when it all came out. He was so scared. He couldn't do it.
Who's Alex?
You know who Alex is.
River. Who is Alex?
Alex was the boy that moved here last summer. He was already out when he moved here because where he's from, nobody gives a shit who you fuck. He didn't know how hypocritical everyone at our high school really is.
Yeah. I was a kid that everyone made fun of all the time. It was so fucked up.
Yeah.
So wait. You two were like together?
We were. Yeah. Just for that summer though. We literally met on Grindr, which is like super embarrassing, but where else am I gonna meet people I'm attracted to?
What the fuck is Grindr?
A burger joint.
Oh, really?
Mm.
That's cool. Where is it at? Did they just build it?
Anyways, I told him immediately that I was still in the closet and wasn't out. And I told him that people in this town suck and he needs to be careful. And he tried, but I guess people could tell he was a little different. He asked Bobby Wingmeyer if he watched Drag Race.
The fuck is Drag Race?
Like a newer version of NASCAR.
Oh, that's dope as fuck. I want to do Drag Race.
Anyways, Alex was the first person that I ever felt a real connection to. That whole summer felt like a movie.
Ooh, what movie?
Honestly, I felt like I was in Brokeback Mountain or something.
What's that about?
Mountain with a broken back.
The fuck?
My world stopped when I was with him. The first time we had sex.
Wait. How do gay dudes have sex?
Dude, literally just look it up. Like I was saying, the first time we had sex, my world stopped. I felt like for the first time, my life had meaning, you know? And I know that sounds corny, and I'm not trying to say that you should rely on another person for your happiness, because, well, you shouldn't, but I felt so stupid my whole life, and like I didn't fit in. And Alex finally made me feel like I mattered.
He did?
Yeah. We were together that whole summer, and no one knew. Not one person.
Wow.
But when everyone found out, shit changed. People wouldn't stop talking about it online. My Facebook messages were filled with all kinds of different threats. Alex too. Couldn't stop crying. When he told me he couldn't be with me anymore, my heart dropped into my stomach. I lost the one thing in my life that made me feel like I mattered.
I never realized you cared about him in that way. About anyone, really.
Do you remember that girl you dated for like 2 years?
Casey? How the fuck could I forget? I was in love with her. Made me open my eyes to what true love is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
Do you remember how you felt when she just left you? Didn't say a word, just left you?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I felt about Alex. The way he felt about Casey is how I felt about Alex.
River, why would Alex just leave you like that?
Taylor, he wasn't accepted by anyone in this town for who he is. The only difference was he actually had a family who accepted him.
Well, everyone deserves love, no matter who you are.
So now you think like this? You know, I just don't see a goddamn point.
Stop with the suicide talk.
Then tell me.
Tell you what?
Give me one good reason to stay.
What are you talking about?
That's all I need. Just give me one reason I should stay.
You're one of the smartest people I've ever met, River. I wish I made the grades you do in school. You should stay because if you leave, we'll never get into another stupid fight over an Xbox game. Or take another pointless trip to McDonald's at 3 in the morning. You should stay because without you here, who am I gonna clown over their weird ass clothes? You should stay because without you here, I won't hear any more annoying singing or humming throughout the house. The world wouldn't be the same without you. I wouldn't be the same without you, River.
This must have been how Alex felt.
What?
I wish you read my journal sooner, Taylor.
What journal?
Then maybe you would have understood me a little bit better.
What the fuck are you talking about? Who's that?
Taylor, sweetie, it's 10 o'clock. It's time to take your meds.
What is going on?
Taylor, you were the one who told Mom and Dad about Alex and me. I know you remember.
No. No. That's not true. Why would I do something like that? I don't care that you're gay, River. Why would I tell them? That doesn't make any sense.
Taylor, sweetheart, are you talking to your brother again? Taylor, do you want me to come in?
Who are you? Can you tell me what the fuck is going on? Why is River acting like this?
Here, honey. Take these pills. I'll leave them here. They'll calm you down a bit. It's going to take a bit more time for your delusions to settle down and for you to return back to a normal mental state. Get some sleep, okay?
All I ever wanted was for someone to tell me that I'm loved and that everything will be okay. But from the one person I expected that from, I just didn't get that. I love you, Taylor, and I do forgive you.
That was amazing. And 2 of my classmates are actually in that. So great job, you guys. You guys killed it on that. Just waiting for Josh. Josh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
That was amazing work. Watching that for the first time, I read it, but watching it really hit me differently than reading it, seeing the actors. So congrats on that. It was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just have a few questions. So one of my questions is, what was it like writing this heavy material, this heavy play during quarantine and being, isolated, having to take this course online? How did that affect your writing process?
Yeah, I definitely think it made it more difficult, but also at the same time a little bit more intimate and I say that because I think just being in isolation just intensifies everything and intensifies every sort of process and makes everything a little bit more like tiresome, and it puts a lot more weight and pressure on you. But at the same time, I also think it allowed me a lot more time to digest the material and reflect on exactly what I wanted to touch upon and incorporate every aspect that I had and every dramatic element that I had in a really unique way. And I think that it allowed me to create something that was thematically effective. So, and like it was hard, but at the same time, I do think that it helped.
What made you want to go across this issue through two brothers, one being gay and one being straight, and just that relationship? How did that come about?
So I have a twin brother myself, and although this particular story doesn't reflect our relationship exactly the same way, I think that portraying this story through the outlet of two brothers can really highlight what it's like for someone to struggle with their identity, and for what it's like for members of your family or close friends of yours who may not understand or completely relate to what you're going through. And that can obviously result in a decline in mental health, which is what we see with River's character. And I think that that's why I really wanted to create this relationship, because it highlights that that intensity and those feelings. And I wanted the audience to be able to feel that, and I wanted it to come across as palpable as possible. So I figured having two members of a family would be able to get the point across best.
I see. One last question. I just wanted to know, when we've been talking a lot about, writers feeling like once they see their story, they have a different perspective on it, or it just changes things, makes it less personal. What was it like when you first saw these two actors play these roles? How did it change you at all, and how you thought of the story?
It was really interesting getting to see it actually played out the way that I did. But I think that it made it all a little bit more real for me. And I think that it probably made it a lot more real for the people watching, because it's one thing to just read it, and it's one thing to just, be able to read the text and understand what's going on. But I think when you actually see it acted out, it makes all of the issues become like real life, and it allows everybody to understand, like, this is reality and this is what people really go through. So it created a whole new reality for me that I don't think I ever would have imagined before.
Thank you. Beautiful answers, Josh. And
thank you so much.
Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we are on to the last show today, the last presentation. So for our final presentation, it uses a unique format that director Gina Marie Rodriguez defines as a play in motion. In other words, a simple one-camera shot with minimal editing. In #anxiety, Alex has to confront her social anxiety, all the while getting encouragement from her inner self. So we're about to show you #anxiety by Hannah Billette.
Hey! Oh my God, I'm sweating.
Where's Danny? They said we were gonna meet right here and then walk to Henry's together. I can't.
I hope I'm not a robot. LOL. I really don't know how to do this.
None of us do. It's fine. You're fine. And I shall be here, so.
Yeah, but you were always so good at this stuff before. Thanks. As long as Selena isn't there, I'll be fine.
Ooh.
Don't.
Ma'am, she is just a person. You've already talked to her.
Through Twitter DMs. Like,
If you
never in
can
real
talk
life.
to someone online, you can talk to them in real life.
Okay. I'll just let my anxiety know that and we'll be good to go.
You are so dramatic. I love you. Okay. Oh, Danny's calling. One sec.
Oh, wait, actually, I think I see her.
Hey, bestie. Miss me?
You. How?
No, remember me, girlie? I'm your super sexy social anxiety. Duh.
Yeah, I know. How could I forget?
And I know what you're thinking. Yes, I did have to take a quick vacay to Bora Bora while you locked yourself in a house for over a year. But no worries, I'm so thrilled to be back. I see you've been eating well since the last time we spoke.
You know, I was kidding when I said I would let you know.
Oh, that's funny. You're funny. If only Sam here would laugh at your little joke.
Please. This is my first night out since... You know what? I can't do this. Fuck you. I'm square breathing.
Good luck with that, sweaty. So what lingering traumas and insecurities should we talk about first? Should we talk about your unrivaled intimacy issues? Hashtag alone forever? How about that fun little night in Hoboken with he who shall not be named? Or, and this one has always been my favorite, that fear. Everyone around you is lying to you at all times. So fun!
You know, Dr. Shauna says that your little musings are momentary and they will pass.
Oh, that conniving bitch! Is this the same Dr. Shauna who you conveniently have not seen in over a year?
I've been busy.
Yeah. Busy? Who's gonna believe that? Busy doing what, exactly? Busy ordering takeout constantly? Busy binging Hulu till 4 a.m.?
Can't do the Zoom shit. I can't.
Sure. Let's face it then. Dr. Shauna cannot help you now.
You guys! Hello, my lovelies! Oh, I've missed you so much.
This should be fun.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure what the procedure is for this anymore. Do we ask people or?
Bitch, it's me. I don't care if you hug me. Everyone at this party is vaccinated anyways. Yours truly made sure of it.
Right. Okay.
Smooth. 10 out of 10. Very natural.
All right. Let's go then. I just texted Henry that we're on our way.
So, Alex, last night Sam and I were having a very important discussion and I need your input. The Sex and the City reboot.
Oh my God.
Is it worth it without the icon Kim Cattrall, aka the icon Samantha Jones? I vote no. For several reasons.
Gosh,
I mean, the first...
Danny is such a great time. I mean, like, boss babe vibes for sure. I bet they can see through your bullshit, even if Sam can't.
Then why would they hang out with me?
Oh, probably because they know you needed a pity friend. You know, Sam and Henry have been getting pretty close too. I wonder what that's about.
It's about nothing.
Maybe a romance, huh? I mean, too bad you don't know what it's like to be deserving of love, huh? I mean, who would swipe right on you? And come to think of it, Henry's have only ever hung out with you in a group. I wonder what that's about.
It's about nothing.
Anyway, Alex, what do you think? You've been so quiet.
Crickets.
I've always been more of a Miranda girl myself, so.
Not exactly the question, but Samantha was the one having all the sex in the city, so I rest my case.
Okay, let me just tell Henry we're here.
God, that was hard to watch, babes. No, Sam even threw you a softball and you managed to mess that one up. Typical. Pathetic. Oh, she looks angry. Deep down, she must think of you as a burden. That sad widow antisocial friend she has to take care of. Why would you still show up?
Selena? Yeah. Didn't you know I was coming? Henry's brother invited me. I brought snacks.
Don't they have like a thing? Like a Twitter thing? Whatever that means.
God, this is like watching a car crash. A chipped, rented Kia Soul crashing into a beautiful Ferrari.
Hi, Alex. It's really nice to see you.
Hey. Yeah, yourself as well.
Girlie, what does that even mean?
Come on in, guys.
Actually, I'll be in a second. You guys go ahead.
I should get a promotion. I mean, it's our first outing and I'm already killing it. Work, queen.
Enough.
Oh, sorry, I have to post it to the gram real quick. Thursdays are prime real estate for maximum engagement.
I'm not doing this.
That's cute.
No.
That's like noble.
No, I'm not. I haven't seen anybody in over a year. I've been waiting months for this very moment to be with people who love and care about me, and they are in there, and what is wrong with me? I stayed inside. I wore my mask. I didn't go to Thanksgiving or to Christmas. I got vaccinated and then waited 2 weeks. I followed the rules. I fucking deserve this. I've been waiting for this moment, and now it's here, and I'm crying outside like an idiot. You are fucking this up. You.
No, great points were made. And I hear you. I do. Unfortunately, I do not care.
Oh. Right. Of course. You're always going to be here. In some way, with your appropriated slang and your insufferable, horrible violence. Fine. Hashtag go get it, girl. But you don't own me. You are not all of me. I don't care what I have to do. I'll restart sessions again, whatever I need to. I care about my life and my friends and my family and myself way too much to keep doing this with you. I might not get the perfect night. Not now, not ever. But I deserve the right to try. A second time, a third even. Everyone does. This past year has taught me that, if anything.
Well, fine, bitch. I'll go, bother some other miserable whore. I'll be back, though. Whore.
Well, at least I'm a miserable whore who's getting help, so bring it.
Hey!
Hi.
Look what I have!
You remembered.
Your favorite flavor? Of course! When I found out you were gonna be here, I had to grab some.
They are better than you think. Some would even argue they're better than the double stuffed.
Oh, wow. Fighting words. Alright. Hey, are you okay though? Do you want to maybe go in the backyard and once and for all decide the supreme Oreo flavor?
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Let's go.
Wow. What a way to end the evening. My goodness. Wow. Hey, Hannah. Hello. Hello. Lovely to see
Hello,
you.
hi.
Hello. I think Gina's joining us in a moment. Wow. How was that, Hannah, for you? While we wait for Gina to join us, how was that?
Yeah, that was really exciting. I mean, it totally blew any expectations that I had away. It was great.
Yeah. So just because you had the opportunity to take your work a lot further than some of your colleagues, and that's thanks to Gina. Oh, hello, just in time. Just I was just about to sing your praises, and there you appeared. Hello, Gina. Welcome, welcome. Fantastic work, both of you. Fantastic work, and I was just saying to Hannah, I was about to ask a question about actually the process. Like, how was it that you guys decided, and to take the step that you took to bring us the presentation tonight in such a visceral, fully fleshed out, three-dimensional way?
Right. I could just talk about my part about the script. I remember Marshall, our professor, saying in the beginning, because of our virtual format, he wasn't sure exactly like if we would film some of these in the theater or outside, or it would be a Zoom. He kind of he left that space open for us to explore. And I think I'm a theater and a film major, and I think as soon as I heard those words, I thought, oh, like I can do something that leans a little more screenplay.
So you had that in mind from the conception of the story.
I think it was on some level. I don't know how conscious it was. And then I think when I first handed in my first workshop, I think Marshall helped me quickly realize that this was not a regular play. It was definitely operating in an in-between kind of space.
Wow. And Gina, how was it for you when you first read it? What was your first impression? Did you sort of feel the same, or did you have a different take on that?
Oh, when I first, I was part of one of the workshops, and it was to me, and it definitely came across as a screenplay, and it's also, bridging the divide between theater and film. I connected with it in that way, and also as a human with anxiety, I connected with it, and I think Hannah's a wonderful writer, so it's
I think what is so powerful is taking anxiety is such it's common, but less common in terms of what we talk about. A lot of people deal with anxiety. I in this year, for the first time in a long time, I found myself dealing with anxiety that I thought I'd left behind in the past. But what's extraordinary about this story and the way that you both of you, from the writing and from the directing, I'm talking about them both at the moment, because I think the two of you, it came together in a very organic way that I think I can't imagine another way that this play could have been presented, not just tonight, but I can't see it in any other way. And I think that's the power of the achievement of the script and the directing. But the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the treatment of anxiety in the story. How was it for you, Hannah? Where did the decision come into to make anxiety the character that you made her?
Right. I think I wanted to talk about anxiety in a way that wasn't going to make anyone cry and be super depressing. I feel like we've been through enough this year. I am one of those people, when I'm having like a mental breakdown, I find myself like laughing at the absurdity, like laughing while I'm crying. And so I really wanted to play with that balance of comedy and also the weird space of COVID anxiety and social anxiety and all of those things. And then I think there is also a way that femme people or women experience anxiety, based on a lot of things about, beauty standards, how we have to behave in public, all of those things. And I think women and femme people can be cruel to themselves inwardly in a very specific way. And so I felt with the kind of girl boss character, I could really hyperbolize that while also maintaining some sort of comedic tone.
Yeah, it definitely worked in that way. And Gina, what inspired the style of filming? I know that you say that it's a sort of hybrid between theater and film. So what was it that inspired the style for you?
Honestly, lack of time. I think
Best
Hannah,
innovator.
yeah, we worked with what we were given, and Hannah had everything was on the page. She did a beautiful job with that, and my job was just to work in service of what she wrote.
Yeah.
And I think we had 3.5 hours, to film something, and we did that as efficiently as humanly possible. And that's why I like to think of this as a play in motion, because we really were kind of figuring it out as we went. And it's different than a short film in the sense that it doesn't have as many close-ups, as many reaction shots, as many cuts. We tried to keep it as simple as possible. But yeah, it's still in that in-between world of clearly there are cuts. Clearly we're moving from place to place. So it wasn't quite play, wasn't quite short film.
And in terms of the script itself, between you, when you started working together, am I right in assuming, Gina, that there was also, you played a dramaturgical role in the process with Hannah?
I tried, to leave this up to Hannah. I deferred, that, including on set. One of their workshop sessions in the class. But Hannah, she had everything on the page and she wrote it beautifully. And
so that's great. That's great, because that becomes a different relationship between director and writer, isn't it? So how did the script shift for both of you as you brought the actors, as the actors came on board and the camera started rolling? How did that change?
I defer to Hannah.
I mean, because we're talking about social anxiety, there's obviously a certain dynamic in a group. And so when you're reading it on the page, I don't think you get that same energy when there's 5 people standing together. It's much more visceral and much more real. And all the actors were brilliant. I'm obsessed with all of them. They brought an amazing energy and authenticity to the piece.
And speaking of actors, let's bring on my co-host, who's one of your cast members, Ryan. There you are. Hello. Wonderful to see you working in a different way. Ryan has a question.
Yes, I have a question for you, Gina. So I was there while we were filming this play in motion, but I just wanted to know from your point of view, how did that go for you, and how much of it did you actually get across that you wanted to, or what do you wish you could have done differently or had more time to do? So I just wanted to hear from you.
For me, I told this to Hannah too. Like she wrote this and it came across as a short screenplay, really, and I wanted to get as close to a short film as I possibly could. Also, I apologize if you can hear my puppy in the background. I do apologize. But I mean, you were there, that we were fighting time, and it was also Mother's Day that we were filming on. So I would have loved to have had more shots. I would have loved to have caught some of the action lines that Hannah had written in, like she had written a beautiful sunset and, a pan to the environment, and we just didn't have the time to do that. So I tried to come as close to her vision as possible, and hopefully we did that together.
And great. Yeah. Do you have another question, Ryan?
No, I just wanted her to speak more on the play in motion, so
the
audience could understand that a little bit better.
Yeah, and also just to add to that, I think Gina, as somebody who's both a filmmaker and a theater maker, Do you think that this pandemic and everything that we've lived through is putting us in a place where we might actually be creating this kind of hybrid story platform?
Sure. I think it's happening as we speak. You know, we're currently on a virtual theater page here, and I'm not going to say that it's something I necessarily like, because I think that, and I don't mean that about this show, but in general, the way that things are going, the more technical we become, it scares me a little bit, because I think the personal nature of theater and even filmmaking is being outsourced, which is strange. So while it's happening, I don't know quite how to feel about it. I would rather we get back to normal. I'm so over this. My own anxieties are telling me I'm done. I'm done with COVID. I want to move on. It was so nice to be able to be in the same physical space with all of these wonderful actors, and with Hannah, we were actually able to work in a functional setting, and I haven't been able to do that in a long time. So thank you, Hannah.
And Hannah, what do you think the audience took? It's a two-part question. What do you think the audience took away from tonight, and what would you like for them to have taken away, if it makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, I can't know what they did take away. I hope they had a.
What do you hope?
I hope they had a good laugh. And I just hope, if you are someone that deals with anxiety, or you know someone who deals with anxiety, that we can all just be more gentler with ourselves and laugh at ourselves and care for ourselves. I think the past year has made that very clear, that taking care of yourself can be very difficult, but it's so essential.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that happen in story where when you really hope that anxiety is not going to be let through that door, because you like, if she comes into that house, that's it, the evening is over. And it's a friend of mine who's director always looks for the kind of air punch moment, like the yes moment in a story. It's like, where's that moment? And that it was great that, you know, when anxiety was fired, anxiety was sent packing. That was kind of just one of those like yes moments. And I think it's such a, after everything we are still living through, with everything we're still living through, it's really life affirming. You know, there's this beast. One of the first notes I made as I was watching the piece was, oh, you're bringing the anxiety beast to life and taking it to a party. This is not going to end well. and just great to see that she found the strength within herself to do that. You know, she's surrounded by her friends, but she doesn't feel strong enough to say, hey, actually, I've got this thing that keeps following me. But she found the strength in herself. And I thank you both, because I think it would not have come across as clearly and as powerfully as it did if you guys hadn't taken the leap of faith into putting this in a real environment, you know, in the street with cars moving and real life sounds, and we would have got a sense of it. But I think, you know, it was a perfect end to our evening, in fact. So I really think that I cannot imagine this piece in any other way. So thank you so much, and fantastic work, guys. Yeah, all of you, Ryan, you cast members, all of you, just wonderful. And I just, while we have you guys here, I want to say thank you to all the writers and the actors and the directors tonight, and for your courage, the writers, from your courage to just step out. You guys have tackled some incredibly large topics in life, but they're not topics, they're real life experiences that we're all living through, and just, but with such courage and such humanity and such depth, and at a time when you're missing out, maybe you feel that you're missing out on the physical college experience, and maybe you feel like you're something has a gap has opened up in sort of the experience that should have been, but something has, I think, and I hope you feel this, that you've come out this side of the last year stronger, richer, with a perspective on life that nobody else has ever had. Not in the history of when we talk about 100 years ago, when the last time there was a pandemic that of this nature in the world, they just had a war that they'd been dealing with. So it sort of got lumped in with that, together with that experience, but this seemingly came out of nowhere, as it was. So we have to deal with it purely in terms of what it is. And I think your work reflects so much of the time that we're living in, but in such a personal and powerful way. So I am really inspired by you all, and I want to thank you for your courage and just your talents, your opening yourself up and sharing so deeply and so honestly. Yeah.
I was just going to say thank you guys too. This was an amazing experience to watch and to be a part of. But I know I'm not the only one with questions, though. I know me and Sivu are not the only ones curious. So we can hear from the audience now. If the audience has any questions, please write in the chat the questions, and we will be able to call them out loud and ask the questions and have the writers answer them. So.
And while we wait for that, does anybody want to share? Because I think for you writers, hello, welcome back. I can see your wonderful faces. Hello, well done, guys. Really thrilled to have seen. I had the privilege of dropping into one of your sessions and hearing, some early drafts of the work that was presented tonight. And I would say for all the pieces that I heard tonight, I was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that moment. Well, it's just that they've grown so much and got so much richer. But how was it seeing the other pieces for you guys tonight? The pieces that you haven't seen since then?
So this is something Thomas and I have both been reading for Josh's play throughout the time we've been workshopping these plays, and Josh's play and all of these plays have come so far, and it was wild how much they've changed even since our last workshop. Like, I don't remember most of the details from these plays because there's like some of them are new and they've like worked them in different ways, and it was just beautiful to see that growth.
Yeah.
There's actually a question coming from Alyssa Scott. She says, was it hard trying to come up with an idea or deciding what story to tell? Also, what did you do to help yourself be vulnerable when writing these, because these stories are very deep?
Yeah. Who wants to take that? Grace.
I can speak to the difficulty of coming up with a story idea because I completely scrapped my original idea like halfway through the writing process. Like, we were in like the 4th workshop and I was like, this is a first draft. Here you go, guys. It's really difficult to get personal and to get vulnerable like this. My God, it's not to get, gross, but it feels like you're unzipping your skin and exposing your guts to the world. And that's quite terrifying. I remember my original idea was completely different from the one that I ended up going with. There was it was very political, and there was like a radio show and these like dueling hosts. And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to work for this class because it wasn't tied enough to me, and it wasn't tied enough to my experience and to my identity. And so I started from ground zero, had a meeting with Marshall, just being like, help, I need new ideas, I don't know what to do. And he encouraged me to go back and look at my identity statements to revisit some of the work that we did in that class. And I ended up deciding to write about this like post breakup interaction between these two, like, you know, young college age people, because it's something that I had gone through, you know, fairly recently. It was something that I felt tied to. And once I had that idea, it was so much easier to just slip into the writing process and to get vulnerable and to start really discovering who these characters are. It just came so much more naturally once it got personal.
Thank you,
Right.
Grace. To remind the audience, Grace is the writer of the play Forward. That was very well done today. So thank you, Grace, for that answer. Does anyone else want to touch on that? Or we have another question too.
Oh, I just really quickly, sorry. I think that one of the things that helped me also be able to, like, how do I say this? Not really care and just go for it is like the fact that everyone else is writing about something that is meaningful, and like they're also putting themselves out there in a way. So it like sort of like validates your own experiences, your own stories, because like there were some times where I was thinking like, is this like, you know what I mean? Does anyone need to hear this? But then when other people are coming forward with their stories, you think, you know what, like there's a place here. You know what I mean? Like this could be as helpful to someone as it is helpful to me writing it. You know what I mean? So hearing other people's stories and like see it go from one thing to another, it was really helpful in my work, being able to share. That's it.
That's great. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Jose, because it goes to the second part of Elisa Scott's question, which was, what did you do to help yourself be vulnerable when writing these stories? And it can happen in a sort of group. So somebody sees one person just taking the leap off the cliff and going, I'm going to go. And you're like, yeah, let's go and see what happens. So I think as a group, you really helped each other be braver with every draft and every step that you took that direction. So that's fantastic. Yeah, great. Ryan, please share the next question we have.
Yes. Oh, just to remind the audience, Jose, he did My Year Off, which was about a 30-year-old woman grieving by drinking herself away, sex, drugs, all that. So just a reminder to the audience. So the next question is by Jennifer Ruby Hahn. She says, when it comes to creating stories and sharing them, what inspires you to do that? As in inspirations that allow you to make theater/stories.
Felicity, you look like you're deep in thought.
Yes, always. I just think that people in general are so interesting. It's like how I think that all storytelling is just that I think that humanity is fascinating. And I think that the more of the human experience that we get to share through storytelling, the better it is. So yeah, I mean, I don't struggle much with finding inspiration because it's all over the place, anywhere you look.
And just to add to that, do any of you, I've got to ask some of you this question, but the people that I haven't asked, do you think that you would have found these stories without the course that you've just been through? Are these stories that you've written before that you've kind of found a new perspective on, or are these fresh out of the experience of interrogating and exploring your race and identity and place within sort of ecosystem that is the world we live in?
If no one else is going to say anything, I was just going to dive in real quick and say that because that is 100% what happened to me. So when we were like introduced to the fact that we had to write a story, I immediately just went back to look at what's called the archives, and I just looked for a story. And this one, My Year Off, like it was the one that just spoke to me the most. But I think like doing it the first time, like in our first read-throughs, right, of my first draft, like it just wasn't really hitting it on the nail. And I realized it's because it wasn't coming from like a place of like authenticity. It was because of this class, right? This was like the catalyst of me like looking inward and being like, okay, what story am I trying to tell here? You know what I mean? Like am I just using the story to like just like say stuff, or is there like a more meaningful message that I'm trying to convey? And where do I see myself? You know, where do I see Jose in the story? And that is what really helped me like hone in and like dissect it, what it was before, and make it into what it is now, like getting personal. And it was because of that class that like I was able to do that. It was like the catalyst, so to speak. And that's really helped, you know?
Yeah. Thank you for that. And then also just maybe get another perspective on Jennifer Rubyhan's question is, you know, what else do you guys think inspires you to tell the stories that you're telling, or that you want to tell? Maybe you haven't told yet. You know, it's great what Jose just said of having a story that existed before, but actually putting yourself inside it in a different way. What else do you think you guys inspires you to tell these stories? Anybody? Thomas.
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of inspires me is that like I grew up on storytelling, like TV shows, movies from a young age. My grandmother would tell me stories about her life, and then just kind of noticing that like a lot of the like media that I consumed didn't really touch on much else outside of like a cisgendered straight white male narrative, with very little exploration beyond that. And there's been a bit more move towards that in recent times, but I just really wanted to be able to kind of like bring a queer story to this experience, and being like, yeah, there's like Eden's identity and Gabe's identity are just totally casual. There's no need to like single them out or make them other, or make it a coming out story, or find some way to other the characters, and just like let them be, you know, queer and open.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas.
Comment. Oh, so just so we say, Jose did. Oh, Thomas did Second Self. Oh, and I already said what Jose did. He already spoke on that. So just so we have a clear thing of everyone's play again, I just want to say thank you so much to the writers for being this vulnerable and having us look at your work like this, and having actors playing your work and having it presented. It was amazing. It was a good use of my time. I know Sibu, everyone else watching. So audience, thank you so much. We're gonna.
Sorry, there is Ryan Holden. There's one more question. Apparently, it's a burning question.
Oh, we have a burning question. Hold on.
So we'll take this as a final question, and it's a question from Leo Lyon. And it's a question, and this is a question. It says, many of you have talked about bringing your identity into your narrative. How did your unique perspective affect the resolutions you chose for your stories? Many of you have talked about bringing your identity into your narrative. How did your unique perspective affect the resolutions you chose for your stories? Who wants to take that one? Josh.
I think for me personally, it comes to a matter of closure and wanting closure. And I think that in a lot of our lives, that's what we all want in some way or another. We want to feel like there was some sort of ending, and like we were. So in my case, you know, Taylor wanted forgiveness, and he wanted his brother to forgive him for not being able to help him or save him in any way. And I think that if I had written it in a way where which I actually originally did write it in, like my very, very, very first draft, there wasn't any closure. And I felt that that wasn't really the right way to go, because that isn't necessarily a way that a lot of people would be able to connect with or identify with, because they were not getting that sense of closure that a lot of us long for. So I wanted to write my piece in a way where they were able to kind of get that ending and get that final goodbye. And, you know, it's okay, and I forgive you.
Thanks, Josh. And just following up with Ryan's, example that she set, so we keep reminding people. So Josh wrote My Brother's Journal, and yes, Thomas, you wrote the piece, the Gilgamesh, the piece that was about Gilgamesh. That was what was the title?
Second
Yes,
Self.
Second Self. Thank you. Yeah, that's that. I think that sort of brings it all together, isn't it? Because this program is about race, identity, and the power of storytelling. And I think you guys have shown us tonight that they're not three separate entities of, they are all parts of what makes us human. But as storytellers, they are essential aspects of ourselves to interrogate and know and live within and explore and question and expand. And so yeah, thank you guys. This has been a beautiful evening, and I hope our audience has been enriched, challenged, entertained, and all of the above together, differently, separately. And guys, for all of you, I hope that if you hadn't written before this process, I hope that this tonight will encourage you to keep on writing. And as a playwright, I can tell you the road is very long and is full of holes. Some are potholes, some are craters, some are sinkholes. But one of the things that happens is you fall into one, there's another road underneath it, and it will take you somewhere else. So allow yourselves to be surprised. Allow yourselves to jump off metaphorical cliffs, not real ones, unless you have a parachute or something else that flies. But just it's something that I'm sure if you've been with Mr. Marshall Jones in classes, he says it, and I say it to my students, having worked with him. He's saying it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. I'm quoting my dear friend, Mr. Jones, there, because it's something that I had to learn kind of in my 30s. I spent my 20s rushing to the finish line. And in my 30s, I had to accept that it's a marathon. And as you grow, your perspectives of race and identity will shift. And so will the stories you tell. But please, please, please keep on writing. Keep on writing. We need these stories that you're telling. The world needs them, and I'm sure our audience will agree.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you to everyone that watched tonight. Everyone have a nice night. Talk to your loved ones about how well they did. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ryan. It's been great yes.
We'll see each other.
Yes, we will. Take care, guys, and have